Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to open this public hearing on the comprehensive plan, February 3rd, 2026. This meeting was advertised to a certain extent, and so we did not know how many people were going to show up. And it turns out that was true to form. But I do think it's important for those people that may be tuning in to kind of understand where we are in this process and why we wanted to schedule this meeting. There is actually going to be another public hearing on the 26th of February, which is going to be a requirement, and I'll try to explain why in a minute. But just let me go through the process here real briefly. As you all know, last November, the town voted by a wide margin to approve the comprehensive plan. I think the vote was 70 to 30 or something like that. 30%, 70% to 30%. And several weeks prior to that vote, we had submitted the plan to the state for the state to review it, because the state has to review, certify that it's comprehensive, consistent, and complete. Unfortunately, we did not get a response from the state until after that vote was taken, which put us in a position where we had to address the state's comments while dealing with a plan that had been approved by the town. And that's kind of where we were starting the end of the year and into the beginning of January. The task force met twice in January to look at what the state was saying were their major concerns. And the second meeting was essentially formulating our response to the state. The response was sent on the 23rd of January to the state, and lo and behold, on the 29th, the state came back and said, if I can find the quote, "We are now happy to report that we find Harpswell's comprehensive plan to be complete and consistent. This means that we have found all sections of the plan to be consistent with the Growth Management Act. When adopting, please ensure that the most recent version is available." So the bottom line is we have a plan that's been approved by the town. We now have consensus from the state that what we intend to do with the plan will bring it into compliance with the state. So the purpose of these public hearings today was to try to at least briefly explain the main things that the state asked us to do, and I want to quickly go over those real in rapid fashion. First, if you recall, we were advised by our consultant and the town planner at the time that if we submitted a letter along with our plan explaining the fact that we did not want growth areas in the town, that would be a good way to address the issue and explain the fact that we don't want growth areas in the town. The state came back and said, yeah, but you should really have that in the plan itself, embedded in the plan. So what we did, obviously, was we took that letter and put it in the plan. It's on, I think it's on page 169 or something like that.
The growth area exemption is right here. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's hard, it may be hard to, essentially what that is an explanation as to why we didn't want a growth area. And basically it involves lack of municipal water and septic, shallow soils that don't have a lot of carrying capacity in a lot of areas, and the unique geography that we have in Harpswell. 3 major islands connected by bridges, a long peninsula, and a whole bunch of islands surrounding all of that. So there's no real logical place where you could say that over the next 10 or 15 years you wanted to have the majority of growth. And those were solid arguments, and the state did not have a problem with the arguments. They just said, please put it in your plan. We've done that. And the plan that you will see when you come to vote on it again in March has that in it. That's point number one. Point number two, they said we need to provide more detail on how we will protect natural resources in the plan. So there were several ways that we did that. First of all, we referenced the importance of the open space plan, which I think has been in effect for like 15 years, or something like that. We added a sentence to a paragraph that addressed development potential, that stressed the natural resources will be considered as part of site planning and subdivision reviews. I think we already do that, basically, but we reiterated that. That's on section 2, page 168. We stressed the need for reviews by a qualified code enforcement person. Now, we have a qualified code enforcement person hired right now, and we've always had, as far as I know, qualified code enforcement officers in the town. So those things really encapsulate what we tried to do, to say that these things that we're stressing and discussing here are going to help ensure that natural resources are going to be preserved. But that leads me to the third point that the state said. You need to put in your plan specifically that you are committed to having qualified a code enforcement officer with the tools necessary so that he can evaluate properly future land use. Now, we've had that. That's historically been a part of the town, but we reiterated that, and we put that on page, let me see, page 1-41. And it's a strategy in the first goal, 1-41.
Oh, I was just gonna pull out this version of it. Hold on 1 second.
All right.
You can do that too. Sorry, hold on, guys. It says it here. Is it in public facilities?
Yeah,
Okay, there it
1-41.
is.
Okay, it's hard, I know it's hard to read for those people, but if you can expand it a little bit.
Yeah.
We added that strategy, provide the code enforcement officer with the tools, training, and support necessary to enforce land use regulations and ensure that the code enforcement officer is certified in accordance with state requirements. So that's an add that we put into the plan. But again, it does not really affect in any measurable way the plan that you folks voted on. It's just really an editorial comment, if you will, that made the thing more emphatic in the plan. Okay, the third thing was describing in more detail how the town's capital investment plan can support future land use. And if you go to page 2-124 and 125, the town does have a capital improvement plan. It was not a part of the plan that we submitted. But what we did was we took that plan and we embedded it into the comprehensive plan. But I want to reiterate again that what's in that plan does not materially impact what was voted on in November. All it does is clarify in greater detail how we're going to support future land use. Okay? Okay, so this capital improvement plan, this part that you see here, was added to the plan.
It was not added, it was already there. It was just updated.
All right, updated, okay. So that brings us to, I think those are the four things. Incorporate the request for no growth areas in the plan, which we talked about. Describe in more detail how natural resources can be protected in the future, which we've addressed. Describe in more detail how the town's capital investment plan can support future land use, which is here. And then add a statement ensuring the code enforcement officer will have training tools needed to enforce future land use regulations. Those were the four major comments that the state sent to us that said if you address these things in your plan, it will be complete. There were several other minor changes that we made in the plan. We updated some of the data, primarily data in the maritime resources section of the plan. Remember now, this effort started over 4 years ago. And so a lot of the data that we're using sort of aged over time, if you will. So what we've done is update the data as best we can as part of this update to the comprehensive plan. Once again, the data that has been updated in the plan does not materially impact what the town voted on last November. So essentially, where we are on this thing is we've made the changes that the state has required, but because the plan was voted on in November and is now a stated or a standing plan in the town, and the fact that we have amended that plan, we need to now vote on the amendments that we've made. And so that's where we are at this point in time. We scheduled this meeting, as I said, before we got the state's response. So I apologize that it wasn't advertised a little bit more thoroughly. But we are going to have another our public hearing on the 26th of February. Hopefully there'll be more people. Or if there aren't, our assumption is that they feel comfortable and there's enough information that's been put out there. The plan, as it stands right now, is on the website. We have, this meeting is currently being videotaped and is going to be available to the town if people want to pull it up. And so there's going to be knowledge out there. But we are going to hold a meeting on the 26th of February here. It's going to be, that's a required meeting. We have to do that to comply with state regulations. So, when you come to the November 14th town meeting, what you should focus on are the changes, March, I'm sorry. Yeah, what you should focus on are the changes that we've just gone through quickly, and it's not necessary to go through chapter and verse of the entire plan, because that plan is good. It's just a matter of making these adjustments that the state wants us to do. And oh, by the way, remember, the state has already said, we've approved what you've given us, and we certify this plan to be complete and consistent with state requirements. So it may seem like a little bit of a pig in a poke, if you will, but these are processes that we have to go through to get this to the finish line in March. That's all I have to say. Do you folks that are here, do you have any questions or comments that you'd like to? Okay, if you do, please stand at that beautiful podium up there and state your name.
I just have, where is the?
Podium.
It'll be on tape.
Nils Chayan, Oars Island. So a simple question. Where is the language related to the code enforcement officer? Is that in the handout?
It's in page 140, it's on page 141 of the plan.
Yes, it's in the handout.
Yeah,
It is,
where is it in the handout?
well, I mean, it's referred to in the handout.
It's on the third page, I
Oh,
guess
okay.
you would say.
Oh, you're talking about the one that we sent to the state? Yeah.
Yeah, this one that's printed over there. So it's page 41, paragraph 4, it's that one.
Oh, gotcha, thank you, yeah.
And so, because that was added in this section on page 41, then we added it again in the implementation table, so it's just repeating. So it's in two spots, but it's just repeating itself. And that really, we already have that, we're already complying with that. The state just needed us to include it to check a box, essentially. So we needed to say it, and we said it, and it doesn't change the fact that we have a certified code officer here already. 2 of them.
Other comments or questions? I think this is going to make more sense if you maybe take it with you, look through it a little bit, look at what's online. But again, the main point I want to give to everybody is that what you passed in November is good. What we've done since then in response to the state clarifies, adds a little bit more depth and information in certain areas, but doesn't change the main focus of what's in the plan. We have to go through these steps as part of the state process. At this point, we don't want to do anything to derail this process. We're almost at the end of the road, and I'm going to have a good Irish, not an Irish wake, but a good something after the 14th, hopefully. And we can all celebrate that we have a plan that's certified by the state, and then the work starts. The work really starts. An implementation committee is going to have to be put together. The select board is going to have to decide what exactly they want that implementation committee to do, how they want it to function. But that group is going to have to sustain the momentum and focus on things in this plan to keep it going. That's the trick, keeping this thing going into the coming years and not making this, what we have here, a doorstop or something like that, so. Anything else? I declare this public hearing closed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.